Welcome to the Careers by Jenn podcast, episode 284. This time on the podcast, Jenn talks about how to do less. Because in 2021, more, less is better than more is less. More or less.
You're listening to the Careers by Jenn podcast. I'm your host, Jenn Swanson. This is the podcast that helps you to get the job, love your work, and advance your career. Careers by Jenn is a listener-sponsored podcast, and if you like the content, please consider supporting the show as a patron. You can do so for as little as $1 a month. Head over to CareersbyJenn.com and click on support to learn more. Would you like to know a big secret to success for a lot of successful people that goes completely against what we've always heard and known? Do less. Yes, that's it. Do less in order to get more accomplished. How does this make any sense? Well, stick around and find out.
Are you procrastinating? Do you want to start a job search but aren't quite sure where to begin? Is it all just a little overwhelming? At Careers by Jenn, we have a 5-day Jumpstart Your Job Search Challenge to help you get unstuck and move toward finding your dream job. Every day for 5 days, you'll receive an email to your inbox that asks you to complete one task. Every task you complete moves you closer toward your goal. The best part about this challenge is that it's absolutely free. Come over to CareersbyJenn.com and you'll see the 5-day Jumpstart Your Job Search Challenge on the right-hand side of the screen. Click on the image of Jenn, sign up with your email address, and you'll be 5 days closer to reaching your goal. Why wait when you can get busy? Visit CareersbyJenn.com after this podcast.
Hey, Jenn here with episode 284 of the Careers by Jenn podcast, where I help you to get the job, love your work, and advance your career. Thanks for tuning in, and be sure to check out my channel over on YouTube, where I offer different versions of career and wellness topics in video format every single week. This podcast is recorded on the unceded and traditional territory of the Coast Salish people, including the Matsqui, the Kwantlen, the Katzie, the Semiahmoo, and the Stolo First Nations people. Now, the idea of doing less is not new. In fact, Tim Ferriss wrote a book about it back in 2009 called The 4-Hour Workweek, which I devoured in an afternoon, and I got all inspired. And while there's a ton of it that's good and helpful, I have not yet achieved it because the work that I do requires more than is physically possible to accomplish in 4 hours a week. Plus, I'm being paid for more than that. But I do about 10 times more than that between all that I do. But it was a good read, and there were lots of good ideas in it. The idea of working smarter, not harder, working more efficiently, quality over quantity is a really good idea. This doesn't work if you're punching the clock, but it can work if you have a little bit of autonomy, if you are able to complete tasks on your own schedule, to some extent, even within parameters. There are things and ways that you can make this work for you that are more efficient. The idea is good. Work smarter, not harder. So why is this important, and how can this possibly help with success and prosperity and all of that when we've always been taught that time is money and that we have to be more productive all the time in order to be useful and contributing members of society, and that no pain means no gain, and that productivity has to do with your worth? Does all this sound familiar? Well, guess what? Kate Northrup is the author of a book called Do Less, and she says trying to do it all will eventually be your undoing. Trying to do it all will eventually be your undoing. Kate Northrup also says when you do less, you do the things you consciously choose to do better. When you do less, you do the things you consciously choose to do better. I love that. So what happens when you do less, and how can you choose this for yourself in your own life and context? What are the benefits of doing less? I'm going to share 5 of them with you today. I don't know why I like numbers, but I seem to gravitate toward lists and numbers. I'm going to give you 5 benefits of why doing less is more. The first one is you accomplish more in less time. When you are truly focused on one task, you get it done faster. One thing I learned recently was about batching the filming of my YouTube videos so that when I go through all the effort of setting up the camera and making sure the room is set how I want it to set and getting dressed up and doing my makeup and my hair and all that, then it's more efficient and it makes more sense for me to film 3 or 4 videos at once, because then I'm only doing that setup in one go. And I end up accomplishing more and saving time in the end than if I had to do all of those things each time to film one 10-minute video. So the other thing is that we can't actually multitask. So consider focusing on one thing at a time and putting your whole attention on it until it's done. I really like to set a timer if I'm doing something like, okay, now I'm going to do 30 minutes or an hour of something and I'm going to get it done. So I'm going to block off 30 minutes and I'm going to answer email, or I'm going to block off 30 minutes and clean up my inbox, or I'm going to block off 30 minutes and research topic ideas, or I'm going to read something I need to learn about or watch instructional videos on something I need to do. I'm taking a course. I'm taking a couple of courses right now. And so, I blocked off an hour last evening to do an hour of the course that I'm taking, one of the courses. Whatever it is, are you able to block time out in your calendar? And can you batch your tasks and focus on just that subject for a little while? What about food prep? This doesn't have to do with work, but it does in a way, because it's time and effort out of your day. And so can you take some time to sit down and plan your meals for an entire week? Can you shop for all the ingredients at once so you don't have to go out to the grocery store more than once? Can you take one afternoon on a day off or one morning on a day off to chop and prep and partially cook and measure out all the ingredients, make your own fresh box, and then you're not wasting time, you're not wasting ingredients, you're not trying to look up recipes and figure out what you have to shop for, wondering what to eat or whether you have everything. You've got it all planned, ready to go, and you will know what to eat. You will get more done if you do this in one session of planning first and then batch prepping, and then you will have more time in your day and not have to worry about that at the end of the day. These are just some ideas on how you can accomplish more in less time. It's about efficiency. It's not about cramming in more things. It's about how can I take the things I already have and make them more efficient in the structure of how I have to do things. Now, of course, some things have to happen every day. Some things you can't batch because it doesn't work. You can't batch your sleep. You can't batch your exercise. That doesn't work that way. But there are some things that you could put together into a grouping, do them all at once, and then and you'll find it's far, far, far more efficient. You'll accomplish more in less time. And that was one of the premises of the Tim Ferriss book. The second benefit of doing less is that you will have less anxiety and you will relieve some of the pressure that you might be feeling right now. There's a person I know who used to say this saying ad nauseum, and at the time I found it super annoying. But over the years, I've come to appreciate the saying, even though it sounds like a salesy slogan or something. But anyway, he used to say, maybe it was the way he used to say it. Anyway, it used to drive me nuts. But he used to say, structure leads to freedom. Meaning when you take the time to put systems in place and you plan and you have a plan, then you become less anxious about how and when to get everything done. And you can relieve the pressure of living with stress and overwhelm. So when you have a framework, when you have a structure, when you have your calendar blocked out for the day as to what things then you don't have to worry that you don't have everything done instantly, because you know that from 2 o'clock till 3 o'clock you're doing X and then it will be done, etc. I had to write a sermon this week. Right now we're not writing them every week because we're doing joint worship services with 3 different churches and 4 different ministry staff. So it's great. We're taking turns doing the different parts and writing the different things. And we're recording sometimes together, sometimes at home. And this week it was my turn. And I know that in order for the editing to be done, it all had to be done earlier in the week than normal. And so I had all of yesterday pretty much cleared up, because you just don't know when these things are going to land in your brain. You know, they come slowly some days. And there's a lot of reading and a lot of research, and it's basically like writing a 2,000-word essay that then you have to speak, and then I have to record it, and then I have to edit it, and then I have to upload it into the Dropbox. So I knew that my week was very, very busy with many of the other commitments that I have, and so I reserved Tuesday, and knew that it would be done by the end of Tuesday, no matter what, and that I would be able to then film it on Wednesday. So I gave myself a plan so I could relax instead of having it hanging over me going, oh, I have to get it done. I have to get it done. It has to be done by Thursday, blah, 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 right? So I was less stressed knowing that I had a structure, and I was less frantic. And you can be, when you do take the time to plan and prepare, you can be less frantic, less stressed out. And that, my friend, can only be a good thing. So that was the second thing. The benefits of doing less is that you have less anxiety and you can relieve pressure. The third thing is that you enjoy life more and have more fun and more room to breathe. And so one of the things I was reading about and thinking about when I was doing my writing on Tuesday was about rest and play. And we are doing a sermon series based on the Brené Brown book all about, called The Gifts of Imperfection. And it's a really good book if you haven't read it yet. It was published a few years ago, The Gifts of Imperfection by Brené Brown, who is the researcher who researches all about vulnerability and such things, has TED Talks and everything. If you don't know who she is, I'll be surprised, because she's quite well known. But this was, the part I was doing was on her 7th chapter, all about cultivating rest and play. And so I was thinking a lot about this benefit of doing less this week, about being able to find ways to enjoy life more, finding blocks of time to have fun, to play, to breathe, to go out into the beautiful world out there. And today is one of the only days it hasn't rained in weeks and weeks and weeks. There was a huge storm last night with branches falling on the house, and it woke me up. It was quite scary. Anyway, I don't know about you, but I find the particular idea of having more rest and play a hard one, because there is a never-ending list of to-dos, and I feel guilty goofing around and not being productive. But if I've planned my week, structured it so that I am laser focused and get things done, then I have time to relax and enjoy life a little more, knowing that I've accomplished what needs to get accomplished and that what I haven't done is blocked into a plan. And I heard someone on a podcast recently say that sometimes we resist doing things because we are afraid of failure. And then she said, maybe we are actually not afraid of failure, but we're afraid to focus, to get down to it. Right? Are you a procrastinator? I know I am. If I'm not reined in. And this could be true. I have to get over this, though, if I'm going to function in this do less mode, because it's about choice. It's about conscious choice. And that way, if I choose to be productive at certain times of the day, then I can choose to relax and play when I have space blocked out for those things too. And I'm not advocating being completely structured all the time in your life. I'm just saying that these are tools that might help you if you're finding that you are stressed and that you are not getting enough accomplished or don't feel like you're finding time for you anywhere in your life. The fourth thing is that you can create time that you can use the way you want to. This is another benefit of doing less. When you are laser focused and you get stuff done efficiently, you somehow free up time, which let's face it, is our most precious commodity. If you had more time, what would you do with it? What would you do if you had an extra hour in your day? If you didn't waste it scrolling or procrastinating, what could you do with that time? Maybe you could read more. Maybe you could catch up with your friends that you haven't talked to in a while. Maybe you could play with your kids or play with your pets or go be outside. Maybe you could listen to more music. Maybe you could do your hobby if you paint or I don't know. What do you like to do when you have free time? Because you could potentially have more of it if you do less and you are organized with what you do have to do. Just imagine that for a minute. The fifth benefit of doing less is that you need less stuff. And this kind of goes with the minimalism and decluttering attack that I often feel in January of every year. As soon as that Christmas tree goes away and all the decor gets put away, I just want to get rid of stuff. And I found myself drawn to the idea of minimalism. And I'm just saying the idea because, oh my goodness, I'm anywhere near being a minimalist and probably never will be because I like stuff. But I like less stuff. I want less clutter. I want less stuff that's just sitting around waiting for I don't even know what. I'm looking around my podcast studio here and there are, probably 5 things I can see right in my view that are things that are sitting there waiting for something to happen to them. The flashlight needs batteries, or there's something broken that needs to be glued, or there's a jar full of old batteries that need to go to the recycling depot, these kinds of things, right? It's just stuff is sitting around waiting. There's a clock that's been sitting on the desk here for weeks that needs to be hung on the wall. And it's still not. So if you had less stuff and more spaciousness, then you would have less stuff to look after, less stuff to store, less stuff to clean. And in order to get to that for myself, I need to have less. If you do less, the theory goes, you need less too. So what do you think about this last benefit? Do you think it's true? Can doing less lead to having less? Or does having less first lead to doing less? Is this a chicken and egg thing? I don't know. But it makes sense that if you have fewer clothes in your closet, you have less things to wash. If you have fewer things in your home, you have fewer things to dust or to clean. If you have a smaller home, you have less to clean and to keep organized. And then maybe you would have more time, right? Things to think about for sure. And so I am taking some learnings from the minimalism people in the world that I follow on YouTube and on Instagram. And again, I'm not aspiring to be them because I cannot be a minimalist, I don't think, in my personality, but I would love to be more in that direction. So, hey, #goals, right? Well, that's all I have for you today, my friend. I hope that something in this episode has inspired you. My aim in all that I do is to encourage and educate and empower you to step into your success in work and in life. And so I hope that I have helped you with some of that. If you like this episode, please share it. That's the best way you can help. With this content. Leave a review wherever you have listened to it and let me know your thoughts. I have about 16 more episodes left until I hit 300, and then this show is going to go into archives and I will be moving my content only over to YouTube. There will still be a blog that I blog very occasionally on my website. I will still be doing my coaching practice, but my podcast is going to end after almost 10 years, and I will be doing short career videos once or twice a week on YouTube, and you can see me over there in the future. But I'm still here for another 16 episodes, so And I've got some more guests to bring to you as well. So I hope to bring you even more value before I'm done in this platform. All right. Well, you take care, and I will talk to you soon. You've been listening to Careers by Jenn with Jenn Swanson. If you like what you heard, please share this. You know, if every single person listening today shared this episode with just one friend, our audience would be twice as big just like that. And the more people we can help with our content, the better. So help out a friend and help grow our audience by sharing this show with someone you know who would benefit from the content. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do that, and together we can make a difference. Until next time, take good care.